All righty, Joe. Look at live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium with today. The 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. And why are the Washington Commanders 0-16? Man, because they suck. They just no explanation needed. The Washington Commanders just suck. Man, I always feel sorry. It just sucks. You know, when the Giants beat up on a team, the other team, they just suck. Welcome to hold on, time out here. I gotta move the chair for my buddy Randy. Hold on. Yeah, buddy. I want to hit you. I want to get you. I want to get you. Hold on. Okay. All right. Randy's here. We can continue. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, this once again, thank you so much from bottom of my heart. Means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like, every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But plus also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free once again, so fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. The description box below, the very top link in the description box, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second one I got is called the Lawrence Tail, and the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to it. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. And if you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Then finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one underneath it, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. I'm an old-time fart. I hate change. Get off my lawn. I'm one of those old-time fart guys, right? It's a Twitter link. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. That's a promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in the Twitter account every day, right? And then a link just above it takes you to my Facebook group. And the Facebook group is doing simply marvelous, might I add. We have over 7,800 members in the group. We're growing. We're getting, whatever, 5, 10 or so people every day joining the group. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton, there's a boatload, there's an awful lot, you might say, of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants Gridiron. It's a Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, but all that stuff said and done and out of the way with, the Giants, they're still going, rocking and rolling, right, with their the coaching, their hiring, and so they're not done yet, right? They're not done yet. They get quite a bit of stuff going on, but one of them I do want to, which is nice. This is nice to say. Start off here with Giants coach and former Pro Bowler decides to stay and not leave for a rival. So that's nice. I mean, that's especially with all the stuff you kind of hearing about, like with Dable, the madman he is and all that stuff and everything, oh, there we go. Possibility, there's problems with Dable and the Wink and all the other coaches and and everything like that. It's nice to know that, somebody's staying now. I mean, obviously, it was for the Washington Commanders. So, I mean, yeah, that's not, we're not talking about, it would have been interesting to see if maybe the Kansas City Chiefs picked the phone up and called. Well, what would have happened there? But not going for the Washington Commander job. It's like, so. But it's nice to see that he is staying. I'm very, very happy. Just former Pro Bowler safety Mike Adams will remain a member of the Giants coaching staff. The Washington Commanders put in a request to interview Adams, a New Jersey native, for the defensive backs coaching position. Art Stapleton of The Record reported last week, but Adams joined the Giants last season as an assistant special teams coach. The team announced on Thursday that Adams will now serve as an assistant secondary coach, working with defensive back coach / passing game coordinator Jerome Henderson and safeties coach Mike Trier. Okay. So it's nice to know, because they for their defensive back coaching position, he was coaching the defensive backs. Okay. Now he's going to be there, so he decided to stay with the Giants to be their assistant secondary coach. So, I mean, that's kind of, that's, the Commanders, you want to be our secondary coach? Well, I mean, it was an interview. It didn't mean like, but they put in a request that you want to be our secondary coach, or do you want to stay there and be an assistant? And he said, no, I'll stay here and be an assistant. Okay. I guess that's telling you all you need to know maybe about the Commanders, their position. But Adams joined the Giants last season as an assistant special teams coach. The team announced on Thursday that Adams will now serve as their assistant secondary coach. So, all right, and we're talking a lot of experience here. Adams is a 16-year NFL vet, an undrafted free agent out of Delaware. Not many people get drafted out of Delaware. Adams made stops with the San Francisco 49ers, Cleveland Browns, Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, Carolina Panthers, and the Houston Texans. He was named to the Pro Bowl while he was with the Colts in 2014 and 2015. In 2021, Adams was an assistant defensive backs coach with the Chicago Bears. Giants also announced the hiring of, I'll go over this here a little bit more, Frank Pirano. I believe that's how you pronounce it, as a team's director of strength and conditioning coach. So I'm going to go over that in just a minute here. But it's nice to know, Mike Adams, he's staying with the Giants. So that's good. That's good. But I'm saying, that's a bit, somebody calls, you want to, maybe be interested in being our defensive backs coach. And he said, nah, I'm good. So, okay, all right. But I'll tell you what, the Giants, that's, a lot of different changes and also guys being promoted, shall we say, too, which is nice. Let's see here. All right. Giants hire Frank Pirano as their director of strength and conditioning, amongst other staff updates. Let's see. Is this the one? All right. There's quite a bit going on here. Giants, they continue to mold their 2024 coaching staff as they announce the addition of one coach and new titles assignments for two other incumbents. Frank Pirano is the team's new director of strength and conditioning. Pirano spent the previous 5 seasons with the Tennessee Titans. Let's go over that. We'll go over this just a little bit here. Spent the past 5 seasons with the Titans, the first 3 as their strength and conditioning coach, and in 2022 and 2023 seasons as the director of sports performance. Prior to entering the NFL, Pirano coached at the collegiate level for 18 years. He was a graduate assistant of Michigan State in 2004 and worked at Notre Dame and the University of Florida before becoming the head strength and conditioning coach at Marshall in 2010. Paye held the same title at Temple for 2 seasons and Boston College from 2013 to 2018. A native Cleveland, Ohio, Paye earned his bachelor's degree at the University of Akron and later earned a master's degree from Michigan State. Now, the one thing here is that, he's going to have to, with Aaron, he's going to have to work real close with Aaron Wellman, okay? Who is the director of player performance this offseason. So, we really feel good about Aaron Wellman. Now, I'm certainly don't want to say anything horrible about Frank Paye. I get it, but he's coming from the Titans, and over the past couple seasons, past 2-3 seasons or whatever, the Titans, the Giants are like here with injuries, okay? The Titans trumped, if that's humanly possible, the Giants as far as, I can't remember. One of the seasons was like 2021 or 2022. I might get them backwards or whatever. One of the seasons the Titans had, I think it was like 91 guys that they had on the roster because they had so many injuries. And another that might have been the same season they had 34 guys on injury reserve at one point or another. 34. And then the other season might have been 2022. They had like 30 or 31 guys on injury reserve. So, it's maybe not all the strength and conditioning, obviously, and all that, but he's coming from a program that's, oh my goodness. Not this past season, but the season before. I was had like a little subscription to maingameslost.com, and I signed up for a year, and it was 2 years ago. And the one main reason is that why the Titans two seasons ago, not last season, 2 seasons ago, I think they were like they were 7 or 8 and 9 or something like that, whatever. But they didn't win their division. The Jacksonville Jaguars did. And the reason why, the biggest reason why, was because of injuries. I just remember from maingameslost, .com. The Jaguars were by far the least injured team in all of football, by far. The Titans were by far the most injured team, by far. That's why they didn't, because of the injuries. Now, certainly you can't say it's all it's on Paye or whatever, But I don't know if I'd want to be hiring anybody from. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to, hope for the best, right? But he's come. Maybe one thing, bringing over somebody from Tennessee is for maybe like their Bowen, their defensive coordinator, or this or that or whatever. But wow, I don't know. The Giants obviously know far better what they're doing than I'm ever going to know. That's for sure. But he's coming from a team that's just been decimated by injuries over the past couple of seasons. So obviously he's coming to the Giants. I'm certainly without question wishing the guy nothing but the best. But all right, so we got. In mid-January, the Giants hired Aaron Wellman as their executive director of player performance, replacing Craig Fitzgerald, who left for Florida a month earlier. On Tuesday, continued their overhaul, hiring Frank Paye as their director of strength and conditioning. So we got directors of strength and conditioning, and then we have directors of player performance. Oh, man, the Giants, Giants already hired Aaron Wellman as their executive director. So, these guys are going to have to work, pretty much, a lot of hand-in-hand stuff there. Pirano comes. We got here. This doesn't have it here. Pirano comes to the Giants by way of the Tennessee Titans, where he spent the past 5 seasons. The last 2 serving as the team's director of sports performance, overseeing one of the most injured teams in the league. Yes. The Giants were the 4th most injured team in the NFL in 2023. Just 1 spot ahead of them was the Titans at number 5 overall. So, but this was this past season, and we know how decimated the Giants were this past season with injuries. Well, the Titans were right behind them. But that's this season. We go back at 2022, I think, in 2021, and I believe by far the Titans with injuries blew the Giants out of the water. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, Vrabel doesn't have his job. Right? Plain and simple. 2 seasons ago, if they had a healthy team, they win that division. I'm not saying they would have won the Super Bowl and not like that, but they would have won their division. Injuries. They got totally decimated by injuries. So if they were healthy, Vrabel might still be coaching in Tennessee. I mean, it's hard to win when you really don't have a phenomenal quarterback and your whole team is just decimated by injuries. It's kind of tough to win anything. But that's the hand that Vrabel was dealt. Okay, the past couple of seasons. I mean, just decimated by injuries. So I certainly wish Pirano. Obviously, he's the new Giant, and I wish him obviously nothing but the best. But let's hope he has better success here with the Giants than he did when they were in Tennessee. All right. So we got, in other news, Mike Adams, the Giants' assistant special teams coach last season, has been named the team's assistant secondary coach and will work both with Jerome Henderson and Mike Trayer, all right, the safeties coach. Pirano is the 4th Tennessee Titans coach to move to the Giants this offseason. The others are defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, tight ends coach Tim Kelly, and defensive assistant Zach Kula. All right. So Giants are, they're in. I mean, they got to be pretty much, I'm thinking, pretty much done. I do like the where they had some promotions. That I do like, but I mean, I think they got to be pretty much. I'm thinking got to be pretty much darn close to being done with all the coaching changes going on. Which is obviously something they want to get done and out of the way with because they want to start focusing on the train. Because you got the obviously, the end of this month you got the Pajama Olympics or the Combine, right? And then you'll have other guys' pro days, right? But then we have free agency, right? And speaking of free agency coming, that's coming up in a couple weeks, right? But speaking of free agency, now there are 12 free agents here. The Giants could target based on their coaching hires. Okay. And I mean, this makes sense. The first one here is, okay, this is from Giants Wire. These new arrivals creating an interesting dynamic headed into free agency. Let's see here. All right, so we have a reminder. Here are the notable coaching changes. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, Michael Grobriel, Joel Thomas, the running backs coach, Carmen Brasillo, the offensive line coach, and tight end coach Tim Kelly. These new arrivals create an interesting dynamic headed into free agency. They're intimately familiar and several of the available players and have developed trust with them over the years. While that doesn't necessarily mean any or all of them will be signed by the Giants, there is likely to be some crossover, right? Especially like Brasillo. There's 2 offensive linemen on here, right? That he knows he's gotten, they're not high draft picks. They're not going to command a ton of money, but Brasillo knows them. They know him. They might want to come here. All right, so let's see here. Denico Autry, defensive lineman from the Titans. Unless the Giants plan to re-sign Leonard Williams this offseason, they'll need to find someone to fill his role that was vacated after a mid-season trade. His absence allowed more double and triple teams on nose tackle Dexter Lawrence and defensive end Denico Autry, which certainly helped to ease that pressure. While Autry is a bit on the older side, 34, he's still highly productive and would be intimately familiar with Shane Bowen's system. 2023, Autry recorded a career high in tackles, 50, forced fumbles, 2, and he had 11 and a half sacks. Very impressive. Azeez Ojulari, linebacker from the Titans. The Giants don't necessarily have a need at linebacker with Okereke playing at all-pro level and Micah McFadden coming into his own, but Ojulari is still intriguing. In 2023, Ojulari was 5th in the NFL with 168 tackles and graded out well across the board. He's particularly good against the run, which is an area the Giants still need to improve upon, which is something, once again, that Bowen, with his defense, does a very good job at stopping the run. And it'll be very refreshing after the past 2 wink-a-dinky-doo seasons, as where we just the run game was a straight-up sieve. Right? It'd be nice to have. Hopefully, we can start at least slowing down the run games on some of these teams that we're going up against. I'm not saying we got to be top 10, top 5, or something like that, but can we start, improving? All right. All right, so the next one I got here is Sean Murphy-Bunting. Giants aren't likely to bring back Adoree Jackson, and rookie Trey Hawkins III didn't develop as they had hoped so. So cornerback will be a need this offseason. Murphy-Bunting started 14 games last season and played relatively well. He was particularly impactful as a blitzer, which would have made him more ideally suited for Wicks defense. But he found a place under Bowen. Christian Fulton could also be an option at quarterback, too. Another guy from the Tennessee Titans, Terrell Edmunds, safety. Xavier McKinney is an impending free agent, but it's difficult to imagine the Giants allowing him to get away. Wow. I don't know about that, but he and Jason Pinnock formed a formidable safety duo in 2023, and General Manager Joe Schoen would be foolish to let that evaporate. But they just don't have the do-re-mi. So they might have to let McKinney go bye-bye. However, if they do, veteran safety Terrell Edmunds could be a potential replacement option. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Giants will address the quarterback position this offseason, as Shane previously alluded to. The door remains open for Tyrod Taylor to return, but that's far from a guarantee. Assuming he finds no options as a potential starter, Ryan Tannehill may be forced to seek out the ideal backup job. With Daniel Jones recovered from a torn ACL and saddled by a history of injury, Tannehill could view the Giants' backup job as a matter of time situation. Cost will obviously be a determining factor. Absolutely. With the Giants squad, what we have and all. If we had to put Tannehill in there, is he somebody who's going to be able to take the Giants this team of Giants to the promised land? Nope. But he would be an adequate backup. Absolutely. He guy you put in there and he maybe win some games for you, especially if you can protect them. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But once again, these are all free agents that have ties, right? Especially to like the Jets, the Raiders, the Titans, coaches that we brought in. Right. All right. Then we have, let's see here. Chris Hubbard, the offensive lineman. The Giants have obvious needs along the offensive line and could be souring on Evan Neal at right tackle. Even if they continue to pencil Neal in as the starter, their depth is lacking. Yep. Veteran tackle Chris Hubbard could be a solution to that despite his age at 32 and an injury-riddled last season. Before being placed on an injury reserve with a biceps injury, Hubbard played an above-average level. And while that may not be inspiring for most, above average is something the Giants dream of for most of their offensive linemen. Absolutely. And he may come relatively cheap, too. Nick Westbrook, their wide receiver. 6'2", 211 pounds. Nick Westbrook isn't the wide receiver one the Giants desperately need, but he did carve out a nice role for Tim Kelly in 2023, holding in 28 receptions for 370 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he wouldn't come expensive. But Westbrook could help round out receiver depth for the Giants and serve as a potential replacement for someone like Isaiah Hodgins, who regressed a year ago. Well, I mean, did he regress or did we just suck last season? I mean, I'm not really sure if he regressed. I think we just sucked. I think the quarterback play was not optimal. The offensive line play was not optimal. Right. See, because also let's not forget, talking about bringing maybe like another wide receiver in because Paris Campbell won't be back either. Then we got Jermaine Illuminor, the offensive lineman from the Raiders, Basillo, familiar with, right? Perhaps more than any one other player on this list, offensive lineman Jermaine Illuminor makes sense for the Giants. A 6'4", 330-pound guard. It's a nice size for a guard. Appeared in all 17 games this season ago with 14 starts. He was penalized just 4 times and surrendered a mere 6 hits on the season. 6 sacks. So, could it be better? Yeah, but his pass protection was mid-pack, but he was a quality run defender, which the Giants need on the inside. Yeah. Then Van Rotten, okay, the other offensive lineman from the Raiders. Van Rotten is a 33-year-old journeyman, though. So, I mean, he would be, probably maybe some depth or something, we'll say. But he found he fit with the Raiders last season, starting all 17 games for just the second time in his career. He was among the league's best pass-blocking guards and fared well while run-blocking, too. Although Van Rotten has a bit of an injury history, the Giants could view him as a solid and inexpensive one-year option to help shore up their underwhelming guard position. This would be a very solid under-the-radar addition for Shane. Then they got Lynn Bowden, running back, wide receiver. Bowden is listed as a wide receiver, but more accurately, he's a utility player. He can step in at wide receiver, tight end, running back, and return both kicks and punts. Wow. He does a little bit of everything and would provide the Giants with the sort of versatility desperately needed given their many deficiencies. Bowden has even been known to throw the ball a time or two. I mean, talking about versatility, holy cow. Although it wouldn't be a high-profile signing, Bowden would be a unique addition to the Giants team that largely lacks utility. Yep. Ashton Davis, safety from the Jets. Ashton Davis performed well as a spot defender in 2023, recording 37 tackles, 3 interceptions on defense. He wouldn't be a starter with the Giants, especially if they bring back McKinney. I'm not sure if they can. I'm not sure if they're going to. But he would provide quality depth in the secondary. More importantly, Davis is a solid special teamer who took nearly 85% of the snaps for Gang Green in 2023. So this could be a good low-cost signing. Giants have carried several special team-specific players in the recent years, Cam Brown and Carter Coughlin, but those guys are probably going to be gone. And there's no reason to believe they won't continue to do that moving forward, especially with several of those players departing via free agency. And then the last one we have here is Justin Hardy, a cornerback from the Jets. Hardy isn't a player who would factor in defensively like Ike Davis would, but is a special solid teams player who could step in and fill an immediate need for the Giants. 2022, Hardy made the Pro Bowl for his special teams contributions and likely would have duplicated that honor in 2023 if not for some injury issues. So, I mean, especially if somebody like him, he can play cornerback, but I mean, especially the Giants going to lose a couple key contributors on special teams. Don't underestimate that special teams Obviously, the thing was with Carter Coughlin and Cam Brown, not bringing them back and all, or quite possibly not bringing them back. They were a little bit of a liability when they were on defense. But let's not, underestimate their contributions on special teams. Especially Carter Coughlin had a very nice season last season. Quite a few tackles. So bringing somebody in, especially on the cheap, right? That that can, if need be, fill in a little bit. Give you some snaps, some reps on special teams. On defense, but be a key contributor on special teams, right? As I say, especially because the Giants, as of the moment, don't have a ton of salary cap space. Bringing some guys in once again on the cheap who can contribute would be huge. Especially somebody I was just talking about who had a Pro Bowl selection, right? That would be huge for the Giants. Now, once again, as always, and quite rightly so, the Giants, they're not high on the power rankings. Now, I don't really. It's to me the power rankings they're a joke. 1 week you're 25, you win a game, you go to 23. You're like, oh my God, we're 20. Oh my God, we moved up. Oh my God. Then you lose a game, you go down to 26. Oh my God, we suck. And then you win a game, you go up to 20. Oh my God, we're so great. We moved up these bad. Then you lose, and it's like, come on, who the cares? Even if you're number one, who the cares? Who the cares? Are you doing this at the end of the season? Are you the Kansas City Chiefs? Are you doing this? Well, that's the Stanley Cup. They hold it with the one hand, right? Super Bowl, holding one. Yeah. Giving it showing the fans that, are you doing this? If you're doing this, that's all the power rankings you need. That's all you need. Right? But once again, this is rightly so. The Giants are not getting a lot of love. Giants near the very bottom of ESPN's early 2024 NFL power rankings. As I said, I don't, really deal too much with the power rankings here, but they're rightly so here. After the way things went for the Giants this past season, it feels like a major step back is taken by the organization. After the 2022, this is from G-Men HQ. Then everything that it could have gone wrong for the team in 2023 did. With Big Blue going 6-11 and missing out on the playoffs. Looking ahead to 2024, the Chiefs are favored to repeat as Super Bowl champions. In a new way too early power rankings from ESPN, the Giants aren't considered threats at all. Instead, the NFC East side is ranked they're number 27th. 28 to 9, 30. So that means there's five teams that are worse than the Giants. It says here the Giants have a lot of work to do this offseason to prove people wrong. Giants are at a crossroads with impending free agent running back Saquon Barkley. It's either now or never in terms of committing to their running back long terms. New York also needs to decide if it's willing to build the team around quarterback Daniel Jones in a year where we have obviously the number 6 overall pick. We got plenty of draft capital, 5 of the top 107 picks. Drafting a quarterback is clearly an option with Jones' injury history now, including 2 neck injuries and a torn ACL. As Jordan Renan noted, there's plenty of uncertainty surrounding the Giants' best players. Per ESPN, the only teams in worse shape than Brian Daboll's men heading into the new season are the Titans, the Cardinals, the Patriots, the Commanders, and the Panthers. Countless tough decisions are on the way for Shane, but there will be no excuses for this team from an improvement standpoint. Hopefully we can look back on these rankings and say ESPN was way off with their assessment. But, being number 27, it's really hard to argue with that. The season last year was pretty much, not a total disaster, but it was a disaster. Right? We have a lot of holes to fill. A lot of free agents are leaving. We don't have a ton of cap space to be bringing in, and plus, rightly so, you don't want to be bringing in 38 new free agents. Yeah, that's not what you want to do. If we had a ton of cap space, we would probably be, signing quite a few of our free agents, and rightly so. We still, because some of the free agents are not very expensive, so good chance we will be bringing back some of our own free agents. But I mean, some of them like Adoree Jackson, right? Will we be bringing him back? Probably not. Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley. And I looked and I saw from Spot Track. I mean, they have like Isaiah Simmons. I mean, like $16.5 million a season. I mean, as far as what his value is, like wow. Whew. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some team might take a flyer on him at $16.5 million, but I mean, he hasn't really done that much to command $16.5. I mean, his athletic ability, might warrant the $16.5 million. But I mean, as far as what he's done with the Cardinals and what he's done with the Giants, you put all that together. I mean, $16.5 million. Wow. So I mean, if he's going to want $16.5 million annually, I mean, I don't even know if the Giants are going to bring. I mean, so the Giants got as I said, Leonard Williams, he's a free agent with the Seahawks, but I mean, I can't see the Giants bringing him back. If Ashawn Robinson is a free agent, I'd love to bring him back, especially for that run defense. With Bowen, especially helping out with the run defense. But Ashawn, I tell you what, when he was healthy toward the end of the season, he did pretty good. He did pretty good at all, but he's going to come with a little bit of a price tag. Nothing exuberant or anything, I mean, but he's going to cost a little bit of money. So once again, as I said, the Giants don't have a boatload of money. I said if they rework Andrew Thomas's and Sexy Dexy's contracts, they could free themselves up, quite a bit of money. I mean, also you'll let Mark Lewinsky go. That's $5 million right there in savings. I said you could. What I show is if they maxed out the savings on as far as like with Andrew Thomas's and Sexy Dexy's, they can free up like 30 or 5 or so $40 million just from those two guys. Right. So, but they also could restructure Daniel Jones's contract. And I'm not sure if they want to do that because of the way they initially structured it. Because, with his injury history, the way he seemed to regress a little bit last season, they got the contract where they can get out after 2 seasons. And I'm not, Shane might still have that in mind, especially if we draft a quarterback really early, first round or second round, right? But I'm not sure if Shane's going to want to kick the can down the road with the money, push some money into the future, but because next year we can get rid of him after 2024. So in 2025 he can be gone, and we have a $22 million dead cap hit, but we would be saving over 20-something million, right? And then you get the $22 million dead cap hit if you get rid of Daniel Jones, and then you can kind of wash your hands off him, right? So after 2025, Daniel Jones might be no mas. So, but I don't think Shane wants to do anything as far as trying to restructure Daniel Jones's contract. Right, as I said, Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence's, especially because you figure in 2025 that the salary cap is supposed to take a nice little jump, and the Giants are supposed to. I mean, as of right now, they haven't signed a draft class, not like that. But I mean, as of right now, even with Daniel Jones, right, his contract on it, the Giants have, like, as of right now, over $100 million. So if they were to get rid of Daniel Jones, get rid of him and add an extra $20 million or so to the salary cap, the Giants would still have well over $100 million cap money. But that's not something that you don't want to be bringing in. As I said, 15, 16, 17 brand new free, as far as especially like starters and all of that. That's not the ideal way of doing it. But the Giants, we got a lot of work to do. But I mean, you can see with ESPN's with the ranking the Giants at number 27 overall, it's really hard to argue with that. Really hard to argue because the Giants we have some holes right now. We're losing guys, and we still need, so we need to fill some of those guys, right? And we still need some depth. So, I mean, we don't even know if we have a quarterback. We don't know who our running back's going to be. We don't have a number one wide receiver, our number one tight end threat. You're not sure how many games he's going to miss this season due to injury. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. So, it's gonna be interesting off season. That's for sure. And finally, Daniel Jones, good old Daniel Jones. I tell you what, it's kind of, it's one or the other. I mean, there is no middle ground with Daniel Jones. It's either you're way over here and you hate the guy, or you're over here and you think, give him a number one wide receiver. Let's work on the offensive line and this, that, and the other thing and all. And he might be all right. So there's no middle ground with Daniel Jones. It's either you want one or the other. You're all, The one thing that just kind of concerns me, especially with Daniel Jones, is that, obviously is that he does not do particularly well against really good teams. Okay. If, now to be fair, right? He's never had like a number one wide receiver. We don't have the offensive line play has not been great, this, that, and the other thing. So we got to be fair. But, it seems like sometimes he might be or might have to have it where, is like, if everything is almost perfect, he can be a good, really good quarterback. But things aren't always perfect. I mean, if you have bad offensive line play, if you don't have phenomenal wide receivers and all that, he's not super stellar. But regardless, he does seem like, as he reported in this report here, it seems like he's on his way back. He seems like he's going to be back in time by like July or August. Now, he's good without question. I mean, whether you like the guy or not, he's putting in the time. He's putting in the time to get back, get his rear end back as soon as humanly possible. Right? That's one thing you do know. Daniel Jones, this is from ESPN. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones says recovery from ACL tear is going well. When the Giants quarterback Daniel Jones felt pain in his right knee on November 5th, he knew his season was over. At that point, it was all about turning the page and getting healthy for next season. After the swelling subsided and he was given the green light by doctors, the Giants starting quarterback went under the surgery for his torn ACL on Thanksgiving in the morning. Jones, 26, could have easily waited until the following week and enjoyed the holiday pain-free with his family. Instead, he opted for surgery on that Thursday morning because in his mind, every day mattered, which it does. 18 days post-injury was already longer than he wanted to wait. A typical ACL tear usually comes with approximately a 9-month recovery. Based on what he's heard from doctors, friends who have had similar injuries, and the Giants medical staff, Jones expects to be back for week 1 and a training camp 2. But one thing you don't know is how well will he be able to move around? And even if he can move around, how much of will he be, as far of a threat maybe in the running game? Will there be a lot of RPOs? Right? Or is he going to be more just hand the ball off and get the ball and stand in the pocket, throw the passes, and if Moses or God parts the Red Sea and there's a huge gap, take off and run and slide down, right, without getting a hit, right? Jones says, I do. Jones said after the season, I think the goal is to take it one stage at a time and focus on what is right in front of us. Definitely the goal is to be back by training camp. I feel like I'm making good progress. There have been no serious setbacks almost 3 months into the rehab. Jones told the New York Daily News during Super Bowl week that he has progressed to running on an anti-gravity treadmill. He updated that his recovery is going well. These are all positive signs with training camp starting in late July. That's 8 months post-surgery for Jones. 9 months would take him to the end of camp in late August. Because you figure, if he got the surgery, right, Thanksgiving, late November, 9 months later would be late August. That should provide plenty of time for Jones to be ready for the regular season. In recent history suggests anything, Jones will be back at practice sometime this summer at the latest. The return to practice times for high-profile NFL quarterbacks in recent years following ACL tears were Joe Burrow did in 7 months. Deshaun Watson, 6 months. What a freakish athlete that guy is, man. My goodness. Ryan Tannehill was 9 months. Jimmy G did it in 7 months. Joe Flacco, 7 months. And Robert Griffin III, 6 months. Phillip Rivers once even made it back in 4 months, 100 days. Holy crap. After tearing his ACL in the playoffs and returning for the start of spring practice. Wow. Tom Brady needed 8+ months when he tore his ACL in his left knee in 2008. And that was after some setbacks caused by infections in the same surgically repaired knee. The longest it took any high-profile quarterback to return to practice was Kyler Murray, over 9 months last season, in part because the Arizona Cardinals seemed to slow his return in a transition year with a new head coach. Working in Jones's favor was that he was a relatively standard ACL tear. There was no significant additional damage, he said, after the surgery. So that's good. The right side is a bigger deal in strength in terms of pushing off with it to be accurate downfield, but less in terms of being skittish because it's the front leg that's always exposed, which is true. Said Dr. David Chow, the former team doctor for the Los Angeles Chargers. Jones does run the ball, but believe it or not, the first thing to come back in acceleration and high-end speed, straight line. But cutting and deceleration are also the last things to come back. But he's kind of a straight line guy. He doesn't have much wiggle, right? No, he doesn't. He's pretty much once he gets going north and south, he goes pretty much north and south. He's not like a Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb kind of guy where he's juke you out of your pants, right? He doesn't do that. Former Giants wide receiver Amani Toomer, who tore a knee twice during his playing career, doesn't doubt that Jones will be back. He expects him to be practicing this summer. But Toomer is skeptical that Jones will be his old self running the football immediately upon his return. And that is a big part of Jones's game. He rushed for 708 yards and 7 touchdowns during his breakout season in 2022. Toomer said, it took me a full calendar year until I got that last bit of pop back on my knee, Toomer said. It's not easy. It's not ideal for his situation. I'm saying, the thing is, even though he does come back and, he's good to go and all and everything, usually it's not right away. I'm good to go. You can go out there and perform, but you're not 100%. And so it takes time. Sometimes just hearing certain guys saying that, sometimes it's not till the second season when you come back from an ACL. And sometimes they say they're even better than they were before. They're like the $6 million man. We can rebuild them, right? But it's the second season when they're, as good, if not better than they were before they tore it. But that's the second season. Usually the first season you can perform, but you're not, if he had 708 yards in 2022, don't be looking for that. As I said, I don't know what they plan on doing with him as far as, any kind of type of a running game or the RPO or anything like that. As I said, I mean, they might just kind of limit him, to handing the ball off, right? They might, if they see something where they think it might be wide open, if they see, maybe the end crashing down every time he goes to hand the ball off or something or whatever, the end crashing, pull it in, just run around there. And if anybody comes within 5 yards of you, slide down. Or, if he's dropping back the pass, right, and all of a sudden, Moses parts or God parts the Red Sea, and there's like a 5-yard gap in front of him, and there's nobody open, it's like, run, right? So he runs, but then once again, anybody gets anywhere near you, slide, get down. And he better learn how to slide and slide properly, especially you just tore your ACL. You don't want to be screwing that back up. But as I said, I mean, even though he might be back and functionable and doing, whatever, 80%, 85, whatever percent, I'm just hearing like a lot of guys say that, when you come back from an ACL tear, it's usually the second season. I've heard people say that they were better than they were before. So just because Jones comes back by July and he's in there, doesn't mean he's going to be, obviously 100%. But it's going to be, once again, going to be a very interesting offseason, as it always is. But a lot of decisions to be made, but obviously quarterback is one of them. I mean, we got Tommy Chicken Cutlets, right? You got Daniel Jones coming back, but where are we going to be getting another quarterback? At least one, if not John, because figure when like mini camp, whatever, like in May. I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be there. You're going to need probably maybe 2 other quarterbacks. Now, you can certainly bring in an undrafted free agent or somebody on the real cheap, right, without question. But we need another quarterback. Now, as I said, is it going to be Minshew mania? Is it going to be like a Ryan Tannehill? We're going to draft somebody in the 2nd or 3rd round and try to maybe develop them. If worst comes to worst, be Daniel Jones' backup. Who knows? We're going to draft somebody at pick 6. Who knows? But regardless, the Giants are definitely going to need to bring in a quarterback. So it'll be very, very interesting as always. Well, guys, it's been 52 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you, thank you, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.